Hi everyone, I wanted to talk about racism and my own personal experience with racism within my very own family. My family, I was raised in a Caucasian family. Everyone was fairly successful, educated, went to church, religious, etc. And we were together all the time. It just the way it was. So I want to talk about my own experience and tell you I just tell you my own experience with racism. I was raised in a white neighborhood, Catholic grade school, public high school, white, whatever the case. There was no other people in our area except for Caucasian people. So when I went to school, I went to school with one black girl, one of my very good friends. In high school, it was a couple more black people, but not a whole lot. And so I was not exposed to racism when I was little. Just was not. But I remember in high school, I'm going to share this. My mom's mom and dad, my maternal grandparents, my grandfather was a religious man, Catholic. I'm just going to say it. He just was not a very nice person. If you didn't do things according to the Bible, he basically disowned you. For instance, I got married when I was very young, had a couple of kids. I was married for about 8.5 years, decided to get a divorce after 8.5 years. And I've talked about this marriage before. The guy, he wasn't nice. And after I filed for divorce, my grandfather disowned me. And when I'd go to kiss him, he'd turn his face. He didn't agree with the divorce, and it got so bad. I mean, I played Scrabble with my grandma every single week. I'd go play with her. And then, for some reason, I stopped going over there, and then I asked my grandma at a family funeral, I said, can I hang out, come over and play Scrabble? She's like, well, your grandpa doesn't want you here. Well, okay, so that's my introduction to hatred. And then I remember my uncle's wife had a sister who, she was white, ended up being in a relationship with an African American man. And I didn't really see them a lot unless we were at my aunt's house, and they were really nice, just super nice people. And they had children and whatever. So this is my uncle's sister-in-law who married a black man and had children with him. So we had a party at my grandparents' home, and my uncle said, well, we want to invite my wife's sister, her partner, husband, and their children, who were mixed. My grandfather said, I don't want those N's in my home, and he used the N-word. And that was our family's first taste of hatred and racism. And it gives me chills to this day that someone in my family who was supposedly a man of God, who was religious, had so much hatred in his heart. There was no reason for it. I don't understand it. He had been a veteran. I'm sure he worked with Africa. Maybe he didn't work. I have no idea. My grandma, on the other hand, was godly, kind, had never said anything negative about anyone. So can you imagine being married to someone with so much hatred in their heart? And my family might not agree with me, but this is the way it is. But I'm going to tell you something, which there's a side to this that nobody thinks about. So when my grandfather, this is quite a few years ago, 15 or so years, I don't even know. So when my grandfather got older, even after he retired, he came down with the shingles. When shingles is very painful. And he had shingles for a long time. And he always had this cough as well. I think it was from emphysema or from smoking, but probably. And when he passed away, I think he had caught pneumonia. And he was on life support, or when they finally at the hospital told us he no longer had quality of life, they, they removed him from life support. And it took him 7 days to pass away. But at the end of his life, he had a lot of physical pain every single day. He was in so much pain with shingles that he had to keep his shirt open because so that's the way it goes. But then when my grandma passed away last year, she was 100. She slowly fell asleep and would wake up to say hi to people, and we knew it was the ending time, that it was the end for her, and so we made her comfortable in her bed, and she slowly just fell asleep, but she didn't have any pain at the end of her life. I mean, she had fought cancer years ago when she was 60, but she didn't have any pain because she was a loving and kind person. And she wasn't a racist, and she never said anything negative about anyone. So I'm letting you know that people that hate other people will have physical symptoms as a result of carrying around that hate. You can't carry around hate and not expect your body to react to the negativity that it holds. That's all I've got to say about it. So if you want to be a racist, you can be a racist, but I'm telling you right now, your life is not going to be pain-free. You will probably die a very painful death. You will catch something that will linger in your body and manifest itself from the inside to the outside. And shingles is a bad way to go. You know, maybe cancer. I'm not saying people that have cancer are racist, but hate manifests itself physically in some sort of way, and I've seen it. I'm going to take cancer off the table because I know a lot of people that have had cancer and they don't carry hate in their hearts, but I'm talking about other physical symptoms, and shingles was one of them for my grandfather. And you know, when he died and he had a hard time breathing towards the end of his life, I'm telling you right now, clear it up. You've got to clear it up, because if you don't, you're the one that's going to suffer in the end. So that's all I've got to say about it. I'm sorry that I mentioned cancer and brought that into this situation. I was just trying to think of other physical ailments that could possibly manifest, and I don't know. I don't know why people get cancer, but all I know is it will manifest and you will experience some sort of outward physical pain and loneliness, and you will most likely pass away on this earth alone, because I'm telling you right now, as people speak out, more and more people are going to be less tolerant of these older white people who make comments about black people. Would never do it to their face, though. And that's what I think is so funny. If you have something to say about someone of a different race, say it to their face and see how far that gets you. I can guarantee you wouldn't do it. So that was my experience with racism. I am not a racist. I am not. I prefer to get to know people, and either we're going to hit it off or we're not. But I'm just telling you right now, if we don't like one another, it's not because I'm white and you're black. It's simply because maybe, we're not meant to be friends with everyone. But I'm telling you right now, maybe it's because we're just not. Maybe I'm not your cup of tea, and maybe you're not my cup of tea, and it has nothing to do with the with the color of my skin. Maybe it has to do with the fact that we just don't mesh well, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. But that was my story about race. I'm sorry I had to expose my family. My family is... oh, a lot of them don't know I make these videos or have my channel, because I think... really, because it doesn't matter. Anyone can make their own channel. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I hope this video helps someone else, and I hope everyone has a good day. Bye-bye.